Welcome back, all my internet friends. It's yummy.com here with another video. Still in quarantine. Hopefully this gets out to you before the end of quarantine. Hopefully it gets out to you after the end of quarantine, because that means quarantine is ended, which is just a saving grace. I am here to talk to you about my favorite Black cartoon characters. I was rewatching Sailor Moon, as one does in quarantine, and besides how horribly inappropriate I realized it was, she was in high school, he was in college. She wasn't even in high school. Was she in middle school? I feel like she was in middle school and he was in college. Whatever, besides the fact they were destined to be, whatever. Anyways, I started thinking about my favorite YouTube video called How to Black, and then there's more to after the title, but it's really amazing. It's by, hold on, give me 1 second. How to Black, an analysis of Black cartoon characters featuring ReviewYaLife, and it is by Toonrific Tariq. And I love this video. I was rewatching it for the umpteenth time, and just reminded of all the good points that he makes, A, and B, all of like the lacking in Black cartoon characters we had, especially growing up as a kid who grew up on Sailor Moon, Code Lyoko, Codename Kid Next Door, just Camp Lazlo, just a bunch of Mew Mew Power Rangers, which wasn't a cartoon, but a bunch of things that I grew up on. There was hardly any Black characters, but then I did remember some of the Black characters that I grew up watching that are close to my heart and near and dear to me, and I decided to rank, which was really hard. It was really hard because there are a lot of great Black cartoon characters, but it was really kind of defeats my purpose. There were a lot of great cartoon characters, not in comparison, not as many as the other races and things like that, but there were a lot of great cartoon characters for me to choose from. So I have narrowed the list down to 5. As you know, on my channel, I like making lists. I like making husband's lists. I like making lists of questions and other things. So I narrowed it down to 5 Black cartoon characters I think everybody should check out, regardless of race, regardless of gender, regardless of sexual orientation. And here's the start of that list. The first cartoon character we have on that list is Fillmore. I used to be a teacher, and I loved Fillmore. As a teacher, I used to walk into the office and I would see the kids put on their safety patrol belts, and I was a teacher in a predominantly Black area, so it was so cool to see just little Black kids. And I was a safety patrol when I was little, so I was also a line leader, but like, we don't need to discuss that. I was a safety patrol when I was younger, so I really was into the show, especially then. But Fillmore was like the ultimate badass. Like, I always wanted to go as Ingrid Third. Fillmore the show was the ultimate like badass show as a kid. I always wanted to go as Ingrid the Third as for my Halloween costume. Hopefully I will get to this year if the quarantine don't stop us. And you will be able to catch those pictures in October. But I genuinely just really love the show, and the character was so well written. And like how Toonrific Tariq talks about, you didn't love him because he was Black, you loved him because he was just a badass who took his job a little too seriously, if we are being honest, but it was super appreciated, and I really respected him as a cartoon. And then he had his moments where I was just like like when he told that girl her chicken was dry, I was like,
that chicken was dry, real dry.
And he just took no prisoners, and I really appreciated that, and I really loved his hard work and dedication, and his partnership with Ingrid was just amazing. It was like one of the best in the game, I really think, at the time. I think that it was a really underappreciated cartoon, and I feel like if you haven't checked it out, you definitely should. I'm sure there's some episodes on YouTube or something that you can find, and it is truly hilarious. So that's my number 1. These aren't in like ranking order, these are just in like top 5 randomized order, because I really can't rank these ones. These are just my favorite of the favorite. Number 2, Static Shock. Static Shock was the superhero when I was growing up. Again, I told you I watched a lot of Codename Kids Next Door, watched a lot of Power Rangers. I also watched a lot of like WB Kids. Like, I watched a lot of superhero stuff too as well. And because I watched a lot of superhero stuff, I never really noticed that. I mean, like, obviously the episodes where, like, it is very prominent, like, in the way they grew up and other things, but I never really noticed that there was anything different from Static Shock and, like, Batman, you know, like, or Static Shock. I mean, obviously there's a rank to the system if you're really, like, into it, but, like, I never really noticed the difference between Static Shock being a black superhero and how rare that actually was, because he made it so normal for me. Like, growing up, he genuinely made it normal, and I really loved and appreciated that show. I kind of had a bit of a crush on him, not gonna lie. Him and his friend were kind of cute, but disregard that. But I really did love the show. I think it was a really big hit, at least in my mind. Again, I was a kid, so I didn't really know how ratings worked or how any of that kind of stuff worked, but I really, really appreciate the show, and I really valued it in its entirety because it was so cool. Like, the gadgets, the bang babies, how all these different, like, just, again, all these different superheroes were able to, like, rally together, and how these villains, I really also appreciated that the villains and the heroes came from the same explosion or accident, you know, like, they all kind of came from this one thing. So it kind of shows that there's a balance in nature, and it also kind of shows that you can, whatever gifts you have, you're not inherently evil. It's the choice that you make, and he made the choice to be good, which I genuinely appreciated and gave me a lot of hope when I was a kid. And I just really, really love that cartoon character for what it is. Like, he was a genuine, like, I don't know. I didn't think static powers could be that cool. Let's be honest. Like, when you got shocked when you were a kid, it was like, but, like, he made it cool, which is, like, also just a kiss to the world. Like, it was great. My third one, and I mentioned the show before, Codename Kids Next Door. I grew up on Codename Kids Next Door. I still watch Codename Kids Next Door to this day. As a 24-year-old woman, I still watch Codename Kids Next Door, and if anyone has a problem with it, see me, because that show was so great and so iconic, and it has so many different people, like, so many different colors, backgrounds, ethnicities. Like, number 3 was Asian, number 4 was Australian, like, what? And don't forget about my girl, the coolest of the cool, and I think that's a running theme in my, like, my favorite black cartoon characters were all really super cool. Like, it just can't be helped. I think it was because I was aspiring to be cool. I knew I wasn't, and I knew I probably would never be. Still not. But I really aspired to be cool back in those days. Like, yeah, I play the saxophone. Come at me. I don't know. I tried. It's not a cool instrument. Like, yeah, I'm cool. So, like, all my favorite characters were, like, really genuinely not trying to be cool, but were cool, and I really appreciated that. So number 5 was, like, heavy on the list. She was the coolest cat to exist.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
She was the grounded one always, and as black women, we always have to stay grounded, because, you know, people out here try and test us, and she wasn't having none of that.
Why should I trust you fools?
She wouldn't let number 1 through 4 stop her. If she had an idea and she knew that it was right and she knew that she was on it, Abigail Lincoln was the boss. Like, and, like, even that name, Abigail Lincoln, like, iconic. It's just iconic at the end of the day. And she's, like, actually one of the only black women on my list, which is, like, terrible because there's not a lot of there's, like, again, you can refer back to How to Black. They talk about how there's such a small margin of black women characters.
And if we're talking about black women, y'all got like 5. And they all got the same damn voice.
Especially ones that portray a edge of coolness and aren't just like the wife or the mother, or, you know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being the wife or the mother, but, like, you know, that didn't have an association through someone else who was the main character. And she wasn't. She was just the main character. She was, like, I mean, she wasn't, they were all 5 the main character, but, like, she was just head over heels herself, and I really appreciated it. And I think it kind of gave me a feeling of it's okay to be weird, because even though she wasn't weird, she apparently built that, like, I deserve to be respected mentality that I pride myself on. And, like, I hats off to you, because, you know, sorry without her hat on, but hats off to her, because, Like, that was hard as a kid growing up. Like, you don't have a lot of self-esteem. And, you know, she kind of gave me that self-esteem, and I appreciate that.
Oh, number 5 is out of here.
Next up is our troublemaker, our crazy, nunchuck-wielding, fro-having Huey Freeman from Boondocks. Now, if you don't know about Boondocks, cut this video right now. I give you permission and go watch all 4 seasons. Watch 3 seasons, the first 3 seasons of Boondocks, and you will know what I'm talking about. That show is a stunner. That show is freaking amazing. Like, I loved it because it was hilarious. I actually learned about Boondocks way late. Like, so like, I guess growing up isn't like really a key. I was in high school, at the beginning of high school, and I worked in the auditorium, and I had a boss who was the auditorium technician. Shouts out to you, Randy Dre, and he kind of got me on the path of cameras. Him and like my other production teacher got me on the path of cameras and, like, you know, working and stuff like that, and understanding and what it wanted to do with life. But he's the one who kind of introduced me to the show. He would put it on while we were doing shows, or put it on while we were doing rehearsals. More like we were doing rehearsals and we would be watching Boondocks, like, in the breaks and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, the show is so funny. The show is so great. And it's even because I was in high school, I had a deeper understanding of, like, race and, like, identity and, like, especially being black. Like, when you're a kid, you don't really notice that you're black and you're different, especially when you grow up in a neighborhood that's predominantly black. And that was kind of it for me. Like, I had a mixed neighborhood because I went to a magnet school, magnet, tag, whatever school. So I had, like, kind of a mix. So I didn't realize what being black meant. And it was so great when I was in high school, was at the peak of, like, the turning of your identity. You get to see a show where, like, not only do you have the cool black character, you have, like, the ratchet dude that you've seen in the back of your class, you have the grandpa from the older generation, you have, you know, the little bit of the self-hating guy. Like, you have all these different characters with all these kind of different backstories, and it was just much appreciated. He is kind of this revolutionary character, because not the revolutionary character, but he was like, I am the revolution.
Vision? What do you know about my vision? My vision would turn your world upside down, tear us under your illusions, and send the sanctuary of your own ignorance crashing down around you. Now ask yourself, are you really ready to see that vision?
Like the song, the theme song, even from the theme song, I am the stone that I made haters, I'm the spark that makes your idea bright. Same stuff that things wrong, let's do it right. I'm the ballot in the box, bullet in the gun, the inspiration, call your brother's son. I messed that up completely. I apologize to Boondocks specifically. But it was so fantastic to see characters like that. And Huey Freeman was my favorite by far, because he was hardcore, but he always saw he had a little bit of a soft spot, especially when it comes to Jasmine. He had a little bit of a soft spot and a little bit of an understanding that the world is fucked and we can't do anything about it, but we should do something about it anyways. But you also have to pick your battles. So it was kind of like this intellectual, it was kind of just like this dynamic character that was like almost real in a cartoon form. And I really one of my favorite characters. Every character on that show is like so well written, but he was my absolute favorite. Him and Jasmine were my absolute favorite, because Jasmine was just like la-di-da-di-da, and he was just like, the world sucks, and she just wouldn't let it faze him. But beautiful, one of my favorite characters.
For fair and balanced coverage.
My next character, and I guess it would be my last character of my top 5, Andre 3000. Now, Andre 3000, a lot of us know him as the rapper, because, you know, he was a dope rapper. Roses, like an Outkast. Like, Outkast is one of the artists of our generation. If you're a millennial, you know who Outkast is. I hope you know who Outkast is. If not, we need to talk. But Andre 3000 also had a show called Andre 3000 on Cartoon Network, and I remember I didn't, like, I knew the songs of Outkast, but I didn't know, like, their discography until I started watching that show. And then after I started watching the show, I started looking into the music, and I really got into Outkast, and that was like my whole identity through middle school. But that show was really, really amazing. Like, it was he took a group of kids. He was a music teacher, basically. I haven't explained any of these characters, have I? He was a music teacher that came into this kind of magnet private school and kind of taught them the power and soul of music. Like, and that show genuinely is so underrated to me, because I feel like a lot of people don't remember how great it was. Like, the music was fantastic. Like, I remember when Lil D had that one song, it was like,
But all we want is your soul. Give it to me.
all we want is your soul. And it was like, it was also a great lesson teacher for kids, which I don't think a lot of kids get nowadays in their cartoons. But it was also a great lesson teacher, but also really fun and really fresh and really funky, and I appreciated it. And Andre 3000, just the character of Andre, like of the teacher, he was just so amazing, and I genuinely appreciated him. Like, he was an adult figure that was still really cool. That, because like a lot of these characters are like young that I'm talking about now, all of them basically are young, except for him. It was like, even as an adult, you can still be chill, you can still be cool, you can still be everything and nothing, and like inspiring, and you don't lose that when you grow up. And I really appreciated that. Now, that was my 5, and I have 2 just alternatives, because it's so hard. And I talked about how women are on the list a lot. There was only one, number 5. So I'm gonna give us 2 ladies who killed the game as characters. Now, when you think about the Proud family, obviously you think about Penny Proud, La Cienega, Dejanay, Sticky, like you think about the whole group, the whole crew. But everybody forgets Trudy Proud. Trudy Proud held it down in that house. She was the man of that house. She was one, not even the man, she wore the pants in that house. She was the doctor. She was everything. Like, she raised 3 kids, watched after his grandmother. Like, she was, and let him pursue his dreams while she held it down at home. Like, she was a real ride or die. Like, if Proud Snacks, like, let's be real, no one was eating that drink.
Oscar Proud, Proud Snacks. One swallow will make your taste buds holler.
But she let him have his dreams while she still held it down. I have a tweet that I wrote recently. And this is the tweet. And I stand by this tweet, obviously. I have got to stop watching romantic comedies and listening to love songs, because all that stuff will have you believing that you are Cinderella in every story. Sometimes you're the Prince Charming, and you gotta find some ashy neat guy to be your Cinderella, like Trudy Proud. And that's true. She held it down. Always. Forever.
Oscar, can you be here for me, please?
Trust me, Trudy, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you.
And my last character, that's just like an extra for you, a little more, so go watch Proud Family. Last character, BB. And I know a lot of you guys are scratching your head right now. Who's BB? Like BB and Cece from Proud Family? No, BB from Teen Titans. She was a side character. Let's be real. She was a side character. She wasn't in every episode. She wasn't in a lot of the episodes. Let's be real. And a lot of people were like, oh, you talking about black characters? Cyborg, whatever. Cyborg was great. Don't let me get wrong. The whole Teen Titans was great. I was raised on Teen Titans. I love Teen Titans to the end of me. Not Teen Titans Go, Teen Titans. There's a difference. But BB, she was the bumblebee. She was an enemy until she eventually ended up, you know, just being a badass, like, you know, just like helping out the team, holding it down like one. But she was one of my favorite characters, to the point where my first email address was BB098. I named it after her because I was like, she is me. She's everything I want to be. I mean, yes, she's a little evil, but like, who isn't now and then? Like, why can't we be a little evil sometimes? Like, why do we always have to be good? Like, why do we have to be the protagonist? Like, what, who, when, where, why? She was excellent. If you say anything else, I'm coming for you. She was excellent. Like, she was just like a dynamic character who, yeah, sometimes she was like, at some point she was just like, why am I listening to these people? Like, why am I listening to these white men? These white men are dangerous. Like, she was just like on it on it. And that's my last one. That was a weird way to end, but I genuinely love cartoons, and like as a little black girl, it was kind of how I saw the world. I didn't watch a lot of live action shows, and if I did, it was Power Rangers, let's be real here, or That's So Raven. So these were really near and dear to my heart, and I highly recommend that video, How to Black by Toonrific Tariq. I'll put it down in the description. I need you to go watch it. Shout it out in the comments if you came here from my video to go watch it, but like I genuinely think that it's one of the best videos examining black characters. But I just wanted to make this little video to like let you guys know what my favorite black characters were, in case you were wondering, you know. So thank you so much, my internet friends, for, in the words of Mindy Kaling's writing, thank you for the pleasure. I hope I've earned the pleasure of your, I don't remember what it was. Roll clip. Yeah, so I'm yummy.com. Don't worry, I will be back. So stay tuned, my internet friends.